Cardiovascular disease is the biggest single killer around the world, and it's also the biggest single killer within UK. Within UK, it kills about a third of people, and in absolute numbers, that means about 180,000 deaths per year. 80,000 of those are heart attacks, 50,000 strokes, and 50,000 other cardiovascular events. And what's interesting is that once you've had one of those events, so if you've got had a heart attack or a stroke, or you've got peripheral arterial disease, you're at further increased risk of having another one of those events and dying of cardiovascular disease. Fourier is the name of a clinical trial which is sponsored by a drug company called Amgen, which is set up around the world to evaluate the question of whether a new drug will reduce the risk of a heart attack or a stroke in people who've already had a heart attack or a stroke or peripheral arterial disease. So this new drug will be added on to standard therapy, which is a statin, and compared with a placebo to see whether you can reduce that subsequent risk. We at the Imperial Clinical Trials Unit are supporting this trial within UK by setting up about 60 sites who will recruit patients and follow them up in the Fourier trial. Earlier studies using this new agent have shown that its use in over 1,800 patients, that if you add this drug on top of a statin, you can reduce the LDL cholesterol, which is the bad cholesterol, by about a half. This new medication that's going to be used in the trial isn't yet available to the general public. It's only being tested in clinical trials like Fourier. The new study is designed to try and recruit about 22,500 people who've either had a heart attack or a stroke or got peripheral artery disease, and they will be randomized to receive either the new drug or a placebo added to a statin. So everybody gets a statin, and then you add in the new drug versus placebo. And of those 22,500 patients, we hope that about 1,000 or more will come from the UK. And once those people have been recruited, we will then follow them up for about 5 years. If anybody wants to get involved with this trial and become recruited into this trial, first of all, they have to have had a heart attack or a stroke or have peripheral arterial disease. But if they have that, we're recruiting such people in UK up until the end of November. And then those people will be followed up for about 5 years to see how many more events, vascular events, occur during that follow-up period. I think what's exciting about the Fourier trial is that if we can translate the LDL cholesterol reduction that we've seen in earlier phases of studies with this drug, if we can translate that into reducing cardiovascular events like heart attacks and strokes to the extent that we expect, this is very likely to become the type of medication that we might use in the future for preventing further strokes and heart attacks in people who've already had one.